Welcome to today's deep dive. Usually, when you think of a crowdfunding campaign, you picture backing, like a sleek new piece of tech.
Right. You read the pitch, you see the prototype.
Yeah, you know exactly what gadget is arriving in the mail. But today, we are looking at a flyer that just completely flips that entire model. It is a call to crowdfund, well, human dignity.
Specifically, it's asking for donations to pay for the funerals of people who pass away in Thailand with absolutely no family to claim them.
And zero funds to their name. It's a super brief document, but man, it carries immense weight. We're talking about foreign nationals, local Thai citizens, really anyone who just slips through the cracks and dies completely alone.
It's tragic, honestly. And what stands out immediately is how it attacks this universal problem. It doesn't just offer a purely logistical fix for unclaimed bodies.
Right, it deeply intertwines that gritty reality with Buddhist spiritual practice. Which, I mean, when you mention Buddhist practice, my mind immediately goes to ethereal, lofty ideals like karma and peace.
Sure, that makes sense. But reading the actual itemized donation list on this flyer, there is absolutely nothing ethereal about it. It's incredibly raw.
Oh, they do not sugarcoat it at all. They ask for funds for caskets and fuel for the crematorium ceremonies, which obviously makes sense. But then, tucked right into that list are zip bags.
Yeah. Death without resources is an immediate physical problem that requires literal management.
I just have to stop there, though, because seeing a request for body bags right next to a promise of sending a spirit to the happiness of the afterlife, it's just incredibly jarring. It almost feels too clinical for a religious document, you know?
It feels jarring to us because we often try to separate the sacred from the visceral. We want to avoid the grim details.
How does a temple even reconcile that level of morbid logistics with a sacred ceremony?
Well, for the Lathawan Temple in Kontarn, avoiding it just isn't an option. If someone isn't supplying those body bags, those remains aren't being moved safely.
Oh.
The temple's primary goal isn't to sanitize death. It's to ensure these forgotten individuals are handled with respect, regardless of the gruesome reality. Every single Wednesday, without fail, they hold a ceremony.
Wow. Every Wednesday.
Yeah, they are actively grounding a high-minded spiritual ideal right into the heavy physical lifting required to grant final dignity.
Here's what confuses me about the funding side of this, though. The flyer lists a Krung Thai bank account and phone numbers, much like a standard Western charity.
Like practical, yeah.
But in a Western context, you're expected to donate purely out of altruism. You aren't really supposed to get anything back.
Yeah.
Is the expectation the same here? Because the phrasing around making a merit suggests something else is going on.
And that is where the theology becomes essential to understand. In this framework, it's not a one-way street of pure altruism. It is a highly reciprocal spiritual transaction.
Oh, interesting.
In Buddhist philosophy, merit functions almost like a spiritual currency. You accrue it through good deeds, and it shapes your current life and future rebirths.
So by buying cremation fuel for a stranger, you're essentially filling your own spiritual bank account.
That is the core mechanism, exactly. And the text makes explicit promises about this. It states that funding these ceremonies will directly result in your own great prosperity.
Wow, great prosperity just for pitching in.
Right. But it goes even deeper, because this spiritual currency is actually transferable.
Wait, really? Transferable how?
The flyer encourages you to make these donations on behalf of your own relatives who have passed away. By doing so, you can literally send that accrued merit to your deceased loved ones to improve their condition in the afterlife.
Oh, wow. So you are honoring your own family by standing in the gap for someone who has absolutely no family left to honor them.
Exactly. It creates this beautiful cycle of mutual benefit. The dead who are completely alone get a dignified send-off.
And the donor receives tangible prosperity in this life.
Right, and the donor's ancestors receive spiritual support in the next. The text also notes that by participating in this cycle, you are actively sustaining Buddha's teachings. You become a pillar keeping the religion alive.
It really is a complete ecosystem connecting the living and the dead. I mean, this one single invitation encapsulates so much. Profound human empathy, stark logistical realities like those zip bags, and a deeply practical application of spiritual belief.
It forces you to look closely at how a community processes the most isolated among us when the standard systems just entirely fail them.
Which kind of brings us back to that idea of crowdfunding we started with.
How so?
Well, if we view human dignity and death as an essential right, but one that relies entirely on the generosity of these charitable merit makers to actually happen, it leaves you with a really heavy question to ponder.
Definitely.
If a society is comfortable outsourcing that final basic responsibility to charity, how does that change the way we view our most vulnerable and isolated members while they're still alive?